So when the tariffs were first talked about months ago, some people saw this actually as a good thing. This is a way to kind of right the wrongs of what they felt were inequities in the way America has had trade policy, particularly with China. But the other concern, of course, is that those tariffs could drive up the cost of certain goods that Americans consume. So we're going to put a graphic up here real quick, and I want you to kind of talk about some of the items that could end up costing more for Americans as a result of these tariffs.
Sure. So first of all, the good news is right now the current sort of wave of tariffs that are taking place on July 6th aren't going to have an enormous impact on consumers like you and me, but certain costs are going to go up. So let's run down some of them, like washing machines and certain household appliances. This actually goes back to some of the tariffs that the Trump administration opposed back in January, so we can look to pay a little bit more there. Solar panels, the cost of solar panels are going up. Because of the higher cost on steel, car manufacturers might be increasing their prices a little, and I only say a little, maybe a couple $100s for the typical cost of an average car. However, be aware that if more tariffs are coming down the line, they could be posed directly on imported cars as well. The big thing that we want to look out for is there's tariffs now on semi-conductors, which are the chips that go into any kind of computers or smartphones and devices, particularly that stuff is made in China. That is going to have an increase in cost on consumer goods. There's no specific tariffs on smartphones yet. Like, don't worry, your iPhone is not going to go up in cost yet. But again, the Trump administration is sort of reserving their judgment as to whether or not they want to impose new tariffs in the future.
Sure. Now, Gene, there's the price concerns. That's one aspect which you just nicely detailed for us. Some people are also concerned about jobs, right, and saying that this could eventually impact on job loss. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. So I wrote a piece recently for Forbes that was talking about the whiskey industry, for example. I mean, tariffs themselves are affecting specific industries. It really is, particularly around the holiday season.
Exactly.
And, you know, there are a lot of craft whiskey makers now, right now, that are finding that because of tariffs that the administration has put on foreign goods coming in, their products are also being tariffed going out. So in other words, it's going to be a lot more expensive to buy a shot of Jack Daniels over in Europe than it would normally cost before. And so a lot of craft makers and a lot of boutique whiskey makers are concerned that that's going to impact their business. That's just a small little industry example. But listen, farming industry, people in the steel industry as well, and all the related industries to that. Think about it, when the prices of farming products go up and food, or we can't sell food over to China, for example, all these sort of indirect industries that rely on the farming industry, equipment and services, they're impacted as well. And they all could have an impact on jobs.
Sure. Now, final question on this, Gene. I know you're really the money guy, but I got to add the political element
well, this
here.
Is money.
I know, absolutely.
Sure.
So this is the money. But some people would say maybe it cost a little bit more, but they like the political message. They like that this is Americans, reaffirming some strength in this space.
Ebony, I got to tell you, I mean, you're right, I'm the money guy, but we have about 600 clients in my firm, and many of them do business with China. And I have to tell you, for years, I have heard client after client complain about the unfair trade balance between our country and countries like China. They complain about prices, going down because products are dumped and they can't get access to Chinese markets, and of course, theft of technology as well. So while there is some pain that some industries are going through, I have to tell you, a lot of my clients, a lot of businesses, big and small, they've been waiting for something like this to happen for a while, and I think that a lot of American businesses are ready for the fight.
Absolutely. The president ran on it, and some would say he's fulfilling that campaign promise. Gene Marks, thanks for joining. Happy 4th.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
You